Hello everyone and welcome to Sportsballin. I'm Dylan Simmons alongside Seth Tackett and TJ Warner. Let's get right into the action. It was a heck of a run for the MTSU women's basketball team this season, but it was finally ended Thursday night in a dramatic loss to the Seton Hall Lady Pirates. The team overcame a 22-point deficit in the WNIT Final Four matchup, but lost in heartbreaking fashion after giving up a 4-point lead in the final 23 seconds. Guys, despite the season ending, MT still has a lot to be proud of, right?
Yeah, of course, Dylan. MTSU put up the 27 wins this season. Not many teams in basketball can do that very often. So they definitely have a lot to be proud of. And this tournament run was definitely an historic one for MT. But man, this Seton Hall game, if you were there, this atmosphere was absolutely electric. I mean, MTSU did not start out hot, obviously. They went down by 24 points at one point throughout the game. But Dorsar and Maleshka really got them back into this game, and it was a really fun one to watch. Maleshka is an absolute beast of creating her own shot. Great footwork. Going to be a tremendous person to watch later on next year.
Yeah, head coach Rick Insell, he said after the game, there's only two teams that are really happy, at the end of the season, and it's who wins the national championship and then who wins the WNIT. So, it was, a big bummer that, they weren't able to complete the comeback and Seton Hall picked up the victory. But, Lady Raiders, 27 wins, 8 losses, and this loss was their first loss at home all season. So, there's a lot to build on. There's a lot to look forward to. And I definitely, even though, again, it's a bummer that, they took the loss in this game,
Yes.
There's still a lot to be proud of this team this season.
Yeah, I think I kind of have the same point as you. MTSU women's basketball, first off, congratulations, incredible season. Well done to you guys. Really, what I've been impressed with is how this team has battled back, their resiliency. We're talking about a team that lost a lot of talent to the transfer portal last year, had a lot of great players who've kind of left that area, but now they've been able to retool and get back, and I credit a lot of that to Rick Insell and the tenacity of this team to come through. And they kept it close at the end, kind of got a bit of a tough foul call at the end, as you discussed, TJ, but Courtney Whitson, Maleshka, these gals really did a great job of playing and staying with it. Even when things looked bleak, they found a way back into it and almost pulled out the W. So a lot to be proud of, and they're in pretty good territory, and I think this is going to give them more motivation next year to come out even better.
Yeah, the future is bright for the MT Blue Raiders. They're going to be a really good team next year. They're only losing one player in Dorsar, who's a graduate transfer. She's going to be the only one leaving. They have a couple freshmen coming up. They have a transfer from Marshall, Savannah Wheeler, 1,000-point scorer at Marshall. Watch out for the Lady Blue Raiders, next year. They're going to be a force to reckon with in Conference USA.
Couldn't have said it much better myself. Well, it was a difficult weekend for us residents of Nova Nation. The Wildcats were dominated by the Kansas Jayhawks in the first Final Four matchup. Kansas's offense went on a torrid hot streak throughout the game as they were able to go a simmering 53.7% from the field. Villanova's offense was stunted for most of the game and seemed unable to get into the next gear. Guys, what was the biggest difference between Villanova and Kansas in this one?
Yeah, well, shout out to your hot take last week when you said Villanova was winning the Natty. Just want to say that Obajabi had a different thing in mind because he started out 4 for 4 from this game from 3, and golly, did they looked well apart from Villanova from the very get-go. They were shooting the ball crazy. Obajabi, like I said, 4 for 4 from the 3, leading the way for Kansas the whole way. Man, he's a sight to see, and he's going to be a force to reckon with even in the national championship game later tonight.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference wasn't necessarily anything Villanova did. It was just Kansas shot better than Houston did. And we talked about that last week. If Villanova wanted a chance to win against Kansas, they had to shoot better because Houston could not make a single shot. And that was most likely not going to be the case with Kansas. And Kansas was 13 from 24 from behind the arc. That was just, I don't know if there's any situation that the Wildcats could have overcame that.
Yeah, and I got to say this. I think fans of teams are sometimes the harshest critics. Villanova's offense was flatter than the state of Kansas, to be honest. They couldn't get anything going for the most part. And I got to say, you guys were talking about the Moore injury. I kind of dismissed it, but you were 100% right. They didn't look like the same team. The defense especially got absolutely destroyed. They gave up 81 points to this Kansas team, and it looked like they were in the same league, and I think that was the biggest problem with this one. And it's become more and more apparent to me that maybe Nova was, in fact, the weakest of the Final Four teams. So I've almost done a 180 here. But I'm talking, we got McCormick and Agjabi as well, with 46 points combined on the night with Kansas. That was the biggest problem for Villanova. They couldn't find a way to stop those guys. And that's really, I think, what more than anything led to them losing this game. Really, it was Kansas's offense and their consistency and their passing attack that led to them winning this one. And now we're going to move on here. So there are games that, even while you're watching them, you can tell it's an all-time classic. We witnessed a spectacle rivaling WrestleMania as Duke and North Carolina matched up for the first time in March Madness history and absolutely lived up to the hype. It was a high-scoring affair with both teams separated by only a few points all the way through. But the red-hot Tar Heels would end the game on top and would end Coach K's legendary 47-year career. Guys, what was the standout aspect of this clash of titans?
Yeah, for me, it was the guard play of the Tar Heels, man. R.J. Davis and Caleb Love stepped up in a big way. Caleb Love had 28 points and R.J. had 18. Man, those two guys looked phenomenal. But not only that, Brady Manick, when he needed to make a shot, he could pull up from three just about any time he wanted to and hit a big three when the Tar Heels needed one. But again, like I said last week, Armando Bacot had 21 rebounds before fouling out. Man, he is a difference maker on the glass, offensively or defensively. The Tar Heels are a complete team. They top to bottom starting five is phenomenal, and the Kansas Jayhawks are going to have their hands full.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me was some of the stuff that North Carolina was able to overcome. North Carolina had 2 steals to Duke's 7, and they had 10 turnovers to Duke's 4, and yet they were still able, and even I think most of the game, even when Duke was even ahead, it still kind of felt like North Carolina was just going to find a way to win. And whatever you want to say that was, whether, was it the pressure of Duke, it's Coach K, we got to give him this big send-off. Was it, that sort of pressure? I don't know, but you got to give North Carolina a whole lot of credit. They're an 8 seed. If they go on and they win the national championship, they will tie the record for the lowest seed to win the national championship.
Indeed they will. And again, congratulations to Coach K, but especially congratulations to North Carolina. And the national championship game is looking to be absolutely stupendous this year with 2 teams who have earned every bit of their success. Definitely going to be one for the history books. When we come back, we will discuss the Grizzlies finding form against the NBA's best, Nashville SC picking up a streak-breaking win, and the impending arrival of the Nashville Sounds. All that and more when we come back here on Sportsballin. Stick around.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, pet them, care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can bring them with you wherever you go. You can jump, yell, hide and go seek, play dress up, or not. Go for a walk, or not. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that. But you can adopt one. 'Cause we're connected. We're connected.
From Iraq and Afghanistan, our brave warriors are coming home. wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
And we are back. The Memphis Grizzlies not only won the game, but made a statement as they cooled off the Phoenix Suns 122-114 on Friday night. They were once again without star player Ja Morant, but did not seem the least bit bothered as they were led by a 30-point Dillon Brooks performance. Guys, how much momentum do the Grizzlies now have?
Yeah, this is a huge win. Like, you cannot underestimate this Grizzlies team going into the playoffs at all. The Phoenix Suns, the #1 overall team in the NBA, record-wise and power rankings-wise. They were in the NBA championship last year playing against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Phoenix Suns are no joke, especially with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton. Those guys are no joke at all. And not only did the Grizzlies do it without Ja, did it out with Jaren Jackson or Steven Adams or Desmond Bane. 4 starters were out in that situation. Golly, and it's just Dillon Brooks had Dillon the villain, man. Had what a game. 30 points. Young guys like Zaire Williams stepped up, had 19. DeAnthony Melton had 17. Man, this young core of guys from Memphis, they're showing that they can mesh together and play really well, even without players like Ja. So, man, if you have 4 starters out and it's just you're still beating the #1 team in the NBA, you got to be feeling happy if you're the coach for Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, talk about momentum. They've won 7 games in a row. They're 9-1 in their previous 10 matchups. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that going into the postseason. And not only that, but to do it not only without Ja, but to be the current #1 seed, the Phoenix Suns, without 4 of your starters, like you were talking about, TJ. I mean, that for me, this is a statement win. This is the Grizzlies putting the league on notice. Like, hey, yeah, we're young, but we're not, we're not just going to wait and be like, oh, well, we're not supposed to win just because it's not our time yet. They're coming for the championship, like come playoff time.
Absolutely, and I want to start off first. You mentioned Dillon the Villain Brooks, and I got to say, very proud to share a name with that man because he is absolutely making all Dillons proud right now. Huge performance against the Phoenix Suns team, which, like you mentioned, former Western Conference champions just coming off of that, and now here are the Grizzlies. They've won 7 straight, like you said, and I've always been of the mentality that records are important. You obviously want to be the best seed, but momentum is so huge, especially moving into the postseason. More often than not, the team that has the most momentum is the one that goes in and beats and upends the bigger teams. And the Grizzlies right now have, I think, undoubtedly the most momentum in the league. And I think, guys, you can make an argument that they are the #1 team in the NBA at the moment. When you look at the team, the depth that they have, and the players that they have, they're really making a statement, like Seth said. They are going to be a team to watch.
Yeah, and they're 20-2 without Ja Morant, too. So that is a big thing, too. But they also locked up the #2 seed in the West, so that's for sure locked. They're going to be playing the #7 seed depending on the play-in tournament. Man, Memphis, they're going to have home court advantage for a while too, and at home, obviously, you can see without 4 starters, they're able to do the job with Phoenix.
Yes, they will. Nashville SC currently sits at 2-1-2 on their season, but picked up a crucial victory against the formerly unbeaten Columbus Crew on Saturday. The club currently sits at 10th in the Western Conference, but there's still a lot of MLS soccer to go. Guys, how crucial will this victory be for Nashville?
Yeah, very crucial. They needed to get momentum, like we said earlier, to keep momentum up. That's a big thing in all sporting events. If you can have momentum, that will help you in the long run. They play Sporting KC next, which is going to be a must-win as they're 11th in the West. That's going to be a must-win for Nashville SC. But if they can get 2 games under their belt back-to-back, man, that'll be good for Nashville.
Yeah, huge win, especially too Columbus. I know we're still early in the season, but like I said right there in the bottom of the screen, Columbus hadn't lost yet, so they handed them their first loss this season. So that's, I think that helps build your confidence, even if it's early in the year. I think that helps build your confidence as a team to come out and say, hey, we're the ones that gave those guys their first loss, and I think that'll give Nashville some momentum as they move forward in this season.
Absolutely, and we were discussing this a little bit before. Nashville SC about to move into that grandiose home stadium right here in Nashville on the fairgrounds, and that just adds more momentum to their season. And this Columbus Crew team is no joke. They came into this game unbeaten. They're 2 years removed from winning the MLS championship. So they are a team that can contend and can make noise. So for Nashville SC, a team that's just coming off their own deep MLS playoff run, kind of had a bit of a slow start, struggled with some teams such as FC Dallas and Cincinnati. This is the kind of victory that you need to build momentum and get back on the right track. And I think we're going to see that here as they move into matchups against Sporting KC and San Jose here very shortly. The Sounds are now closing in on their season start date. They will play the Durham Bulls in a 6-game series starting on April 5th. Nashville is coming off a solid 7-2 season and are looking to springboard from it into an impactful 2022. Guys, what are you most excited for with the Sounds this year?
Yeah, well, like any baseball, just to watch good baseball. Yeah, I mean, if you want to get your guys going good, and if you can get them to move up in the league, move up in the league. It's just creating depth for your overall roster.
Yeah, I'm just excited for some exciting baseball in Nashville. Remember, one of my hot takes was that we wouldn't even have a baseball season this year, so I'm thrilled, just happy to see them play.
They're definitely going to be a team to watch here in 2022, going to be making some big waves. Can't wait to see it. When we come back, we are going to discuss the hot takes of the week as we'll turn up the temperature, and we'll get back to that here in just a moment here on Sportsballin. Don't go anywhere.
To pose, now shush. She makes the sound she makes to calm me down. She makes the sound she makes me. She makes the sound she makes me deep in the North Sea.
I'm here. Can you see me? 'Cause I feel like I'm invisible. Like this whole place is invisible. If it weren't for the nightly news, no one would even think of this place. But down here, things look different. Down here, our spirits are bright and our dreams are vivid. And if given a chance, that's what the world would see.
In the past 50 years, we've made a lot of progress in smoking prevention. But if we don't do more, 1 out of every 13 children alive today will die early from smoking. That's 5.6 million precious lives we can save. Together, we can make the next generation tobacco-free.
Welcome back to Sportsballin. It's about to get 200 degrees in here because it's time for Hot Take of the Week. First up, we've got TJ. What do you have for us?
Yeah, I have Garrett Wilson as the first wide receiver taken in the draft this year as my hot take. And the reason behind that, not only is he pro-ready now, but I think he's going to be the best prospect out of this class. He's got the best hands, strong hands, elusive in the open field. Man, it's hard to tackle this guy. And his route running is impeccable, and everyone coming into this year, into this combine, was really questioning his speed. Did he have the speed? Well, he ran a 4.3, 4.4 type speed. If you're running that, you're pro ready, in my opinion. So after that, I think he moved up in a lot of draft boards. You're going to see him start creeping up in a lot of wide receiver draft boards, and I think he's going to be the first wide receiver taken, maybe even top 10.
Yeah, you know what, TJ? I actually don't think this is a hot take. I agree with you. I think Garrett, I think the stats speak for himself. I mean, last year, 12 touchdowns. He had over 1,000 yards receiving, averaged 15 yards per catch. And talk about his route running. He kind of reminds me of Jalen Waddle a little bit in terms of just how crisp and smooth his routes are. So I actually agree with you. I think he's going to be the first wide receiver off the board as well.
Not only did he have 1,000 yards, but 2 of his teammates also had 1,000 yards.
Absolutely. And I'm going to keep mine short. I think Jamison Williams will be the first one taken. All right, Seth, what's your hot take?
Okay, for my hot take this week, I've got the New York Yankees this season, World Series or bust, okay? And I base that, the Yankees, the past few years, they continuously, they're falling short, and they're falling short, and they're falling short in the, they're making the playoffs. I think their last losing season was in 1992, so it's not like, they've had some disastrous year. But after all the money they're spending, all the big names they went out and got, like when they went and signed Garrett Cole and they went and got Josh Donaldson, and Anthony Rizzo as well last year, all these big names that they're bringing in, at a certain point, the Yankees, you got to break through. You've got to break through, especially when you're spending all this money. I think the only team that is outspending them is the Dodgers, and I mean, that's the Dodgers' MO. That's just what they do, is spend big bucks on players. So, yeah, I just think for the New York Yankees, this is the year that they need to break through and win the World Series, or you might see some of that talent that they've got. They might start looking elsewhere to get a World Series ring.
Yeah, I feel like the Yankees definitely do have one of the top 3 teams in talent, not even a question. But at the end of the day, the Yankees are the Yankees. They're the daddyhood of MLB, like the Cowboys is of football. It's just they get to the playoffs, they have the best team, best talent-wise team, and they just can't get over the hump. I agree. The fans are going to think World Series or bust, like they always do. It's one of the hardest fans to play in front of, so they're always going to say World Series or bust. But in my opinion, I don't think the Yankees are going to make the World Series.
I'm going to say 100% agree. The Yankees have got to get it done this year. Got so much talent, and they need to get it done. For my hot take, I'm going to say the Buccaneers, they will regret moving on from Bruce Arians as he's going to the front office. And here's why I'm going to say this. Bruce Arians has always been a leader, a stabilizing force wherever he has gone. He's always been a guy that you can count on to get production and to probably take your team into the postseason. Whether it was with the Steelers, Colts, Cardinals, he's always been able to get the job done. I watched him take a Cardinals team in 2015 that should have been nowhere near that successful all the way to the NFC Championship game in 2015. And again, that should not have happened, but he was able to do it with guys like Carson Palmer, Larry Fitzgerald, and did a great job with that team. And he came to Tampa Bay, and in just his second year, he wins a Super Bowl. And here's why I don't think it's going to work out for Tampa Bay. Tom Brady is a guy who, let's be honest, and this is another hot take, but I don't think he's ever had a coach that isn't a Hall of Fame worthy coach. Bill Belichick, Bruce Arians. He's always had guys who have that Super Bowl pedigree who are successful. Todd Bowles is a guy who we've never really seen what he can do. He was with the Jets and he had one 10-6 season, and after that, he disappeared off the face of the map. The team was terrible. The Jets were bad. I mean, I know they're the Jets, but at the same time, you have to ask the question, how ready for a head coaching job is Todd Bowles? Has he really fixed all that? I think he's better off as a defensive coordinator, and that's why, more than anything, I think the Bucs are going to regret this. Mainly a very, very big regret.
Yeah, well, Bruce Arians is still in the front office of Tampa Bay, so he's still around the organization. If he needs to be there to give a couple tips or pointers, I feel like he'll be able to do that. But in my opinion, they're not going to miss Bruce Arians because they have another coach named Tom Brady on the field. I mean, when you have the most winningest quarterback pretty much of all time, there's no point of having a really good coach because you have Tom Brady. That point blank period.
Yeah, I just think I've got faith in Todd Bowles. Again, the last time the Jets were relevant was when he was the head coach. And, I get what you're saying, Dylan. He doesn't have the Hall of Fame pedigree, but who does? Tom Brady. He has the Hall of Fame pedigree. And Bruce, like TJ said, Bruce is still around. He's in the front office. It's not like he's he's going off to Hawaii, completely retiring. He's still going to be involved with the team. I've got faith in Tampa Bay. They're a much better run organization than the Jets. I think they're going to be fine.
Well, I'm not Max Kellerman, but I will say this. One day Tom Brady will fall off a cliff, and he will start losing. Well, that's it for Hot Take of the Week. When we come back, choose carefully because we're going to have this week's picks. Stay tuned here on Sportsballin.
Son, love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Jessica, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Natural disasters are a fact of life in the U.S. And between activities and school, chances are you won't be with your kids when they happen. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids can help your children feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
And we're back. Let's get to those picks. First up, we've got the Nashville Sounds taking on the Durham Bulls tomorrow at 6:35. Guys?
Yeah, I'll take the Bulls in this one.
I'm going to take the Sounds on opening day.
Sounds with a big opening victory. Next up, Preds take on the Wild tomorrow at 7. Guys?
Yeah, I'll take the Wild as well.
You know, Pred's a little inconsistent, but I'm going to take him over the Wild.
I think the Wild have looked very strong as of late. They're going to get the job done. Next up, we've got the Grizzlies going to the Jazz tomorrow at 8, guys.
Yeah, Grizzlies, no question for me.
Grizzlies, so hot. Say they continue.
Grizzlies attack, they get the win. MT Softball takes on Murray State Wednesday at 3. Guys?
Yeah, we've been really rude to the softball team recently, but I'll take MT Softball today.
Yeah, I'm going to go with MT Softball as well.
Hope this makes up for last week. MT Softball gets the job done. Next up, MT Baseball plays against Memphis Wednesday at 4. Guys?
Yes, this one's a toss-up for me. I'll take MT Baseball, though.
Yeah, you know, MT Baseball, been a little rude to them as well. They've got some big wins. I'm going with MT Baseball.
MT Baseball with the Grand Slam, they'll get it done. And last but not least, the big kahuna itself, Kansas versus North Carolina for the national championship. Tonight at 8:20, guys?
Yeah, I took North Carolina as my hot take last week as that they would win the Natty. I still believe that now. Armando Bacot's going to put up a lot of rebounds. Man, and R.J. Davis and Caleb Love, those two guards are going to be phenomenal. Look for the Tar Heels to win this one, point blank, period.
You know, the entire tournament I have picked against North Carolina, and I'm stopping that right this second. I believe North Carolina picks up the win, and I believe that they tie the record for the lowest seed to win the national title game.
Go Tar Heels.
Yeah, go Tar Heels, baby.
You know, since we got here today for the show, I've heard nothing but North Carolina praise, Tar Heels praise. They're going to win.
They are.
Listen,
They deserve
Kansas
it.
has too good of a passing attack. They have too many good players. You've got McCormick. He's going to play lights out. Kansas is going to take to the sky, and the Jayhawks are going to get it done, and you're going to owe me a pizza. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Sportsballin. Remember to tune in to BRTV to catch the show anytime. For Seth Tackett and TJ Warner, I'm Dylan Simmons saying so long, and we'll see you all next time.